Welcome, everybody, to Unpopular Reviews Wednesday Night Review Show. I am your host, the host with the dose, Evil Dose. Watching my six, as always, is La Sicaria.
Hello, everybody.
Scared? You should be. We have had some wardrobe malfunctions in the UPR universe, so it's going to be me, La Sicaria, and the Sheriff. And a bit of switcheroo for you, because I'm covering NXT this week, and Tamara, the Sheriff, is going to handle AEW. So we're going to introduce Tamara, and she's going to kick it off with the AEW action.
Yes, that's what the people really want to see. Sorry, NXT. So it was the New Year's Smash Part 2. Part 1 was last week. So technically this is Part 2 of the specialty show. And the first one was Pac and Eddie Kingston. It was not like for a title or anything. It was just kind of like a grudge match. So Death Triangle, which is like Pac's faction, was feuding with Eddie Kingston's faction. Truthfully, they played like a video package to show why they were feuding, but I kind of thought, I'll be honest, I didn't really care that much about this match. I mean, the whole point of them fighting was they were kind of upset about the fact that Eddie Kingston was kind of trying to break up the Lucha Bros. And I guess Pac is friends with them in Death Triangle. So that's when Pac returned and he kind of just called out Eddie and then they had a fight. And that's really the end of it. I'm trying to speed past this because I don't think it really mattered. If you really like traditional matches with like traditional narrative, then you'll like this match and it wasn't bad. But that's really what it is. Pac finished it with the Black Arrow and then Butcher Blade, they kind of came in to save Kingston because they were trying to do like a beatdown. There was like a big pull apart, and then Lance Archer came in and he ran everybody out the ring. And he told Pac they need to get on the same page because they kind of have like a makeshift alliance going on. This is the first match. I also think it's kind of the worst match that happened this week, so I kind of want to speed past it. So
no Phoenix, no Penta, no Jake the Snake.
No Phoenix, no Penta, no Jake the Snake. I'm not. I don't care. I'll be honest.
What's up, Michael Licata? What's up, Mike Riggs? Elvis.
It's when you know what that means. Yeah, they did say that today. Rest in peace to Brody.
Still saying that, huh? All right. Do you want to take it to the first commercial for AEW, or do you want to just do it segment by segment and I can start with the NXT?
I was going to do segment by segment. So that was the first match. I can go, and then it was commercial. So I can go into the second one if you like.
No, that's fine. We'll alternate, and there were actually a bunch of commercials in NXT. So first they gave us a recap of New Year's Evil, and they were telling us that the Dusty Men's Classic starts tonight. There's 3 Dusty Rhodes Classic men's matches tonight. But the first match was Shotzi Blackheart and Candice LeRae. Candice was accompanied by Indy Hartwell, improperly introduced as Indy Hartwell, not indie wrestling, which is absolutely what they should have done. So right there and then, they took me out of the match.
Happy birthday, Janali. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday. Wade Barrett. That's a fabulous British impersonation, in case you were wondering. He was going on and on about Shotzi and the Tank. He was definitely healing it up, really the entirety of this match, but mostly about the Tank and how Shotzi's menace because of the Tank and shrapnel. I'm really not sure what that was all about. I mean, there's no heat that I'm aware of between Wade Barrett and Shotzi. I don't believe the Tank has ever ridden over him or has ever shot him. He did make reference that he was worried that the turret was pointing to him. Remember the guilty turret where the Nerf cannon bullet, whatever, projectile hit Austin Theory in the hoo-has. But this match was nothing remarkable. Frankly, Shotzi Blackheart was controlling most of it. At some point, Indy Hartwell interfered and, got knocked her on her ass for the trouble, but that gave Candice LeRae the opportunity to apply the swinging net breaker off the top rope and the win. And then that proceeded to a segment where they told us that Finn Balor, the Prince, was going to be next. And then we saw an SUV driving up to the curb, and Pete Dunne and the tag team champions, Oney Lorcan and Shane Birch. Is it Shane Birch? I don't even know what his name is. Something Birch.
Hoping that's for me.
Right. They drove up together. All three of them got out together. Though I will remark that they did not refer to them collectively as the brand a single time tonight, which is something I've talked about. What's up, Derek Mitchell? But that took us to the first NXT commercial. So back to you, Tamara.
Right. And I am actually wearing like an Eddie Kingston shirt today, so that was kind of disappointing. But we'll go to the next one, Chuck Taylor. He fought Miro, the best man. And essentially the stipulation was that whoever won, they had to be the other person's butler until the wedding for Kip and Penelope. They actually came out with like a cardboard cutout of Trent, who wasn't there, obviously. And they put like black tapes over his like just there. It was kind of funny. So they came out, and then it started out with like Chuck Taylor kind of dominating Miro, but that really didn't last long. Like Miro hit like a Samoan drop, and he was definitely showing like what I want to see from him. It was a lot of just powerful moves, a powerful move set. So he was dominating Chuck Taylor, as he should, because I mean, I like Chuck Taylor, but I think Miro definitely has a higher ceiling for sure. So he was doing a lot of powerful moves, and then he put him in like the Iron Sheik's finisher. I forget what that's called.
He called it the Accolade.
He called it the Accolade. Yeah, that's always brutal. Like whenever I see that, I'm always like, can you tap just so I don't have to watch you get pulled and yanked back for 5 minutes? So he puts him in that, and then the referee stops it because Chuck Taylor's done. So I was kind of surprised because even though Chuck Taylor got like offense in the beginning, after that it was one-way traffic. So Miro
Chuck is going to be Miro's butler now, right?
for sure.
So young boy.
It's young boy. Without the paycheck, it is what it is. But he'll I guess they said it's about a month. So I guess Kip and Penelope's wedding is going to be in like a month on the show.
I think it's February 3rd.
February 3rd, yeah. And today's 13th. Got it. So that's what that's going to be. And then they did like have like a little segment after with Matt Hardy and Private Party, which I'll just go into because it was pretty short. To put it,
can I make a bold prediction?
Go ahead.
Miro's face is going into that cake as soon as the vows are over.
Who's doing the pushing?
It's going to be, I mean, Chuck and allies.
Okay. I was thinking that you were talking about a Kip double cross.
Oh God, no. I mean, Kip should just go on his honeymoon and never come back, but that's all right.
Well, no, that's fair. I mean, I'm not Kip Sabian Mark, but and so speaking of people who should just never come back. So Matt Hardy, he signed Private Party to like a management deal, 30% of everything, and that includes third-party platforms. I guess Private Party didn't know that, so they might as well be working for Vince McMahon at this point. And then I think it was Isaiah Cassidy said that Matt was a money-grabbing carny. I don't know what that was. I was hoping you did.
I know what that means. It means wrestling has often been talked about as being a carny business, like carnivals. And so he's a money grab. Basically, he's a con man trying to get every penny out of them, just like a carnival barker would, trying to get the marks. That's where the term marks come from.
Yeah, I was gonna say most lingo comes from the circus times anyway. So, and then Matt Hardy's like, he had this one line where he was like, "I need you to know that nobody cares, and the sooner you realize that and get it through your skull, the better you'll be." He's not exactly wrong. People complain about things like, "Oh, my manager is screwing me over," or "the company screwing me over," "Vince screwing me over." Nobody cares. As soon as you realize that, you'll be happier. Also, he says, "I made you, so if anything, when I say jump, you should ask how high." And this was because if I remember right, they signed that contract just last week. So yeah. Matt Hardy did not wait at all to show those colors. To be honest, I like this storyline a lot. So I want to see what's going on. But that was a short segment, so I'll kick it to you.
What's our tag team, you're asking, Elvis? The main eventers. Okay.
Sorry to crash in the party here. What's going on, guys? How's it going?
What the hell?
What? Chris told me to hop in here, so I'm here. How's it going?
Well, you got something to add, Roddy? Not so strong.
I got my undisputed merch, Roderick Strong's not blood related son. So, or not biological, as you would say, but
As far as you know.
Okay, well, I'm
bad.
Okay. But yeah, we were talking about AEW, correct? Sorry, just catching up to speed here.
Yep, we were. We were talking about Matt Hardy screwing over Private Party and being
So I'm assuming, based off that, Matt Hardy turned heel on Private Party.
Technically, yeah. I mean, is it really a heel to get this money? But it is what it is.
Well, he's been turning heel for a while, and it seems to me like he's doing what Brody Lee was doing as the Exalted One early on. Just they're using numbers instead of just innuendo.
Okay.
So it seems like the same gimmick repeated again pretty quickly. I mean, I didn't watch it obviously because I was doing my job and watching NXT, but that's what it sounds like from your description. But it seems like the next step from what I did see last week, because last week I was on AEW before all the wardrobe malfunctions.
I'll definitely say this: I didn't get that connection until you said it. So
that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for the audience wondering, all of Bad Guy Jack's hair fell out, and his beard apparently was fake the entire time. And Steamin' Willie Beeman, he ran out of coal and he ran out of steam. So, I mean, so that's where they are.
It pushed me into the deep end of the pool, and I'm just swimming here.
That's right. So you got to get out that butterfly, pull out your inner Michael Phelps. So
what's going on, Mike?
We're back in NXT world, and we're back from commercial, and Finn Balor is in the ring. He's cutting a promo. He's still the champion. All credit to Kyle O'Reilly, but he's not on Finn's level. Kyle stepped up, and he put him down. I mean, Finn put him down. And now the only difference is that now Kyle O'Reilly is taking his meals through a straw, not Finn.
Right.
So Finn had a shirt on, and there was sort of a red X on it, and you could see it on the Trons. It wasn't really clear it was an X because it was part of the logo. But he says, I put this red X on my chest because I know I've got a target on my chest. So who wants to step up next? Which was sort of dopey because last week, Cross challenged him 2 weeks ago. Pete Dunne challenged him. Maybe I might have the weeks wrong, but I mean, he already had two challengers. So right there, Pete Dunne's music hits. Again, not the brand, just Pete Dunne. And he basically channels his inner Goldberg, and he says, I'm next. No more waiting. I'm gonna, and then before you know it, Lorcan and what is the other guy's name? Why can't I remember?
Danny Burch. Get it
Danny
right, man.
Burch.
How long have you been watching
Danny
wrestling
Burch. It's
for,
not Shane Burch.
and you don't know Danny Burch's name?
I have to be honest with you.
Shame
I've
on
said this
you.
a million times. If you took Imperium, the Grizzled Young Veterans, Lorcan and Burch, FTR, and probably a bunch of other tag teams, and you put them into one of those bingo mixers with me, and you pulled them out like a bingo number and put any two of them together, I couldn't tell you which one was which. They're all the same to me. They're all the same guys. They all have the same.
Your
moves.
knowledge on wrestling.
They all look the same.
I don't know about FTR, but I will tell you that I do get confused with like Adam Cole and people in that vein. What is it, Undisputed Era? But I also don't watch, so that's not really fair.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, if you watch, then
which one is Cash and which one is Dax?
Dax is the bald one, and then Cash Wilder is the one with hair.
Okay. Well, you have a 50-50 anyway. All right. So anyway, all three of them, the non-brand, go to beat up Finn, and he's fighting them off for a while by himself, doing pretty well. But then the numbers catch up. Pete Dunne takes an opportunistic time and starts going after the arm. Kyle O'Reilly runs into the rescue, but he's already beaten up. He's not even cleared to wrestle. They make that clear a bunch of times. The 3-on-2 is too much for them, but the Cole and Strong run in and make the rescue. The non-brand exit. They go up to the head of the rampway under the Tron. The Undisputed Era are sort of together in one corner. Remember, there's no Fish. He's still injured, of course. And Finn is sort of in the other corner. He's sort of going to the middle of the ring. There's like a uneasy détente. Are they going to shake hands? Are they going to acknowledge each other? Are they going to high five? Are they going to too sweet it? No, none of that. Finn just drops down and slides out of the ring and moseys out slowly out the reverse side of the facility. So, no clear alliance there, just meeting just helping each other against a common foe.
And my question is, where was Pat McAfee tonight? Where's Pat McAfee been the past few weeks? Are they just done with him? Is the brand gone? But it's just, the brand without him. Like, it makes no sense why they still have Pete Dunne, Danny Burch, and Oney Lorcan together if you're not going to have Pat McAfee there with them. You might as well just let them go their separate ways, because it's just like, what are they doing? They're not really talking.
Well, David, if you supported your friends and cast members and listened to the Hammerlock Hangover, you would know that Steve and I covered this, and that it was announced that Pat McAfee wasn't going to be on any WWE TV until the spring, and we were speculating what that meant and what that meant for the brand. So part of that was answered. They're still acting together, but again, the name has not been used since, and Pat McAfee's name has not been mentioned. So the answer is,
since War Games? Don't know. Like, since War Games, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, because if that's correct, maybe it's just, selling the injuries from War Games and then it'll come back in the spring.
No.
I mean,
it's not that, because they never once mentioned an injury. So, no, it's.
What do you mean? He didn't mention his injury. If you took the time to watch Pat McAfee's show, he was actually wearing a neck brace on his show the day after War Games, selling the injury. So they wrote him off TV, and he'll be back in the foreseeable future. But it doesn't really make sense to have these three guys together, because if anything, they're better off apart without Pat McAfee. With Pat McAfee, you could say the opposite. But to me, it just doesn't make sense.
If that was the design storyline, and it may turn out to be the story, but if that was the design storyline, they would talk about it. They would mention his name. They would still use the brand. They would talk about his injury. If you want to know what I actually think, I think Pat McAfee's not on a contract with him. He's on a per appearance, and he probably wants too much money. And they're probably negotiating, and they're saying, we don't need you. We're getting $650,000 no matter what. Why should we pay you any when we can, get 7 developmental wrestlers for the same amount as you, and maybe one of them gets up there.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at these comments here.
Adam Cole is a future WWE champion once they shave him and put him into the women's division. The end.
What?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. Adam Cole is not a future WWE champion unless you mean 24/7 champion. So.
Okay. I can sort of understand where you're coming from there because of his height. Tamara, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, Adam Cole is a pretty big deal, especially for WWE. I think that when he does get called up, he'll probably be in a main event role, if anything.
He will never be called up. None of those people will be called up. They'll end up. Let me tell you something about WWE. I understand Vince. It doesn't mean I agree with everything, but it is very clear that they are moving back to the WWE being the land of the giants. That is how they are going to distinguish themselves. They're not going to try to compete with AEW and Ring of Honor with Ring of Honor with the pure wrestling. They're not going to try and compete with AEW with the flippy stuff. They're going to have some of it, but it's going to focus around the big guys. It's going to be Drew. It's going to be Braun. It's going to be The Fiend. It's going to be Keith Lee. It's going to be Dabba Kato. All of the people that they sent back to the Performance Center, Dijak, Mace, Otis. This is what they're focused on. Karrion Kross. It's going to be the land of the giants again. They're going to look like superheroes and comic book characters because that's what they lost. And for better or for worse, that's what's going. They're going to have a few Daniel Bryans at a time, but no, Adam Cole will never be a WWE champion.
Okay.
Well, I don't think they lost superheroes because, for all intents and purposes, Daniel Bryan was a superhero.
Yeah, when there was one of him. When they're all his size, it's not special.
Almost like he was almost a main event guy, and they still messed it up with him. And Braun's huge.
Right, and before you guys dive more into that, I'm actually going to bow out. I'm gonna have someone who may or may not have a different opinion on this come in for me. You may know him better as the executive consultant Chris Harris.
Boss?
He didn't finish. Like, what kind of leaving is that? You're terrible. You're awful. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unpopular Review NXT AEW edition. You are dealing with You are dealing with the executive consultant right now, Evil Dose Malachi, as long as a lovely La Sicaria over there to my right, and down below we have the sheriff with the green screen. Every time you are on, I want to talk about the fact you have a green screen. Hey, AEW, look at that green screen. Saying hi. Yeah. NXT, AEW. Y'all talking about Adam Cole. Can I talk about Adam Cole? Is that okay? Are you all right with that? Can I interject my opinion?
Sure.
Adam Cole, I agree with you 100%. Evil Dose. I think from a perspective of how you're looking at it, Adam Cole is not a WWE champion in the future. You are funny as hell by saying 24/7 champion. Let me just tell you, the amount of disrespect is real. The amount of shade is real. But at the same time, I think Adam Cole's character is good enough where he can get over that hump like a Daniel Bryan, like a Shawn Michaels, like a Rey Mysterio, and become a future WWE champion. Just my opinion. But I think everybody in the Undisputed Era, he's the one that's going to make it. Everybody else, no, even though I think Roderick Strong is a tremendous talent. I think Kyle O'Reilly, a fantastic talent. Do I see them as a future champion unless it's Intercontinental US? No.
Right.
Derek Mitchell says Evil Dose is correct. The WWE used to be known as the big man territory. They have sort of gotten over that, but they still do like their big men. And I understand. Hey, I've said this numerous times. I feel like if you're a casual fan, La Sicaria, help me out. I feel like if you're a casual fan and you're flipping through channels, if you see Braun Strowman, you're not a wrestling fan. You're not a true internet wrestling fan like us, you know. You see Braun Strowman, you're more in tune to the fact that you're like, oh, who is this big guy? Let me watch him, as opposed to seeing an Adam Cole. That's just my opinion. I just don't see Adam Cole in that person that you like, oh, look at this guy. Let me look and watch him. He's not it. You think
I will tell you that when we saw that, everyone knows. I'm not here to argue with you, but you made your point. I made mine. Everyone heard it. But a true story. We went to Full Gear last year in 2019, I guess, in Baltimore, and we had floor seats. And I have a few exceptions to my small guy rule. And one of them is Pentagon. I love Pentagon. I fell in love with Pentagon and Lucha, and I've never stopped loving him. So he gets into the ring, and she sees him, and she goes, the other guy's going to kill him. I go, why? He goes, he doesn't look like he exercises. He's not professional. He needs to go with the Russians and bulk up.
Who did he fight?
I think it was Pac. Oh, no, Pac was facing Paige that night. I don't even remember.
Pentagon's bigger than Pac.
Huh? No, well, he might be taller than Pac, but he's not bigger than Pac.
Pac is
jacked.
Pac is short.
He's very short, but he looks like someone you wouldn't mess with.
Pac is short and he's toned. He's toned.
He's a thick man. Buddy Murphy is a short, thick man.
Hey, let me ask a question, Sheriff. Do you have your phone by you, or are you on your phone?
Do I have my phone by me? I do, yeah.
All right. First of all, what kind of phone is it?
It's a Google Pixel.
It's a green screen phone.
Okay, good. It's not Apple. It's not Apple iPhone. Good. If you can look up the weight of Pentagon, and you look up the weight of, or actually no, we have a director, technician. Since you want to put middle fingers up in the background, if you can pull up
how much
the weight.
They list Pac as in AEW because it's a joke. They list him at 206.
He's not 206.
206.
Sorry to interrupt.
205 Live, and he hated it, so they list him at 206.
You don't have to interrupt. You can put it in the chat. You see this thing right here? Hold on. Let me show you what you did earlier. All right. So look, this comment is from a popular review. My dad said the same with Brock Lesnar. He was intrigued by his size and strength. Technician. That means you don't have to interrupt the show. You can post. You can ask any question. I want to know Pac's weight, and I want to know Pentagon's weight. I think Pentagon weighs more than Pac. And I heard you said 206. That's bullcrap. But WWE does the same thing. Go ahead, Sheriff.
I definitely think Pac weighs. Pac is like a lot of muscle. Pac is like he's a shorter guy, but he is
a lot of muscle. You have a good point. Pac is very built, but let me ask you a question. So who do you, if you were to guess Johnny Gargano's weight, what do you say?
155.
In like shoot weight or real weight?
Real
That's
weight.
the same thing.
Is it the same? Are they? I thought they embellish a little bit, but
No,
wait,
I
said shoot. Sorry, I meant to say kayfabe, but yeah.
They list him at 199. I think he really weighs about 155.
199. He's nowhere near 200. He's nowhere near 200.
He is nowhere.
I guess 180.
I weigh 240. The technician weighs 380. There's no way. Look, let me explain something. So
Pentagon weighs more.
Yeah, according to this, Pentagon weighs more. I think Pentagon does weigh more. If you look at them next to each other, Pentagon is not a small dude by any stretch of the imagination. You weigh 207.
He's smaller than me considerably.
I have never been next to Pentagon. Pentagon was in a ring, and he poured me a shot of Patron. And I always will thank him for that Patron. Give me that shot of Patron because I don't remember anything after that.
This is a good story because it's not about me being bigger than him. It's about me being a total Mark boy. And I looked in his eye.
David, get out here.
He saw that I wanted to talk to him, but I had mucho cierto. I had mucho miedo. I couldn't talk. I was frozen. And then later on, he saw me again when he was leaving his shift at StarCast, and he recognized me. He looked right at me, and I could see in his eyes, he's like, "You have a second chance. Do it, man. Do it, man." And I couldn't. I just nodded, and he looked at me. He's like, "Yep, I know." So, but I was bigger than him, but still, I was afraid. I was too chicken shit to talk to him. Anyway, maybe I should go to the next NXT segment since we're only in segment 2. We come back to a Gargano interview. He is going to face Lumis that night for the, I think it's for the North American title. I thought it was a title match. Anyway, Austin Theory is trying to get his attention, being his little dorky self. He brings an envelope for Johnny saying, "The guy brought a few." The guy, what guy? The guy. And so, I mean, you know he's either being served with legal process or it's pictures by Dexter Lumis. So he opens it up and he goes, "Do you mean Dexter Lumis?" And Austin Theory's like, "Yeah, that's the guy." So he pulls out a caricature of Johnny Gargano crying, like raindrops of tears, like waterfalls of tears coming out of his eyes. And Austin Theory is laughing, going, "It looks just like me." And Gargano's like, "It looks nothing like me." And then he pulls out a second picture of Austin Theory, who's crouching over, grimacing, grabbing his hoo-has when he got hit in the hoo-has twice. And Austin Theory goes, "Hey, that's not funny." So then we go to the next commercial. So I guess you can pick it up on AEW there, unless anyone wants to discuss the Gargano interview.
Anything on Gargano over here?
No, I think they're just kibitzing with each other.
All right, we got something good for the fourth segment. So it was Chris Jericho with the Inner Circle. He came out, the crowd was singing his theme song. They did some close-ups in the crowd, and like you could hear them individually sing, and I was getting kind of like secondhand embarrassment from that. So note to self, when I see AEW live, don't sing. But they were talking about their New Year's resolutions. Some of them were like, "Oh, I want to win championships." MJF said, "I want to strengthen the bond within the group, get rid of fat people." Yeah, that was his resolution. And then I kind of looked at Jericho because I'm like, well. And then Ortiz actually said he wanted to learn how to cook better, like his grandma. And people started booing, and MJF was confused because he's like, "Why would you boo that?" And he was kind of right. I was like, "Why would you do that?" And then they got down to it where the ultimate resolution, they went back to the championships point. And Jericho said he wants him and MJF to win the tag team championships. Clearly, Santana and Ortiz did not like that because they're supposed to be the tag team for Inner Circle. So
and wasn't it about 3 months ago that Jericho and Hager were gonna go for the tag team championships together?
And they acknowledged that as well, right? So, and also not too long ago, the Les Sex Gods was Guevara and Jericho. So obviously Santana and Ortiz had something to say about that. And then Guevara was like, well, wait a second, what happened to us? Acting like a scorned lover. And then he's like, you know what? You are a tag team slut.
Scorned lover. Tag team slut. You are disrespectful. I thought you were a sheriff.
That's what Guevara
I apologize for her. I apologize for her. Oh, my gosh. Derek Mitchell says, thank you, Sheriff. I agree with your sentiment of people singing Judas in the crowd.
Yeah.
Wow.
What about singing Judas on the show?
I always cringe when they get too close and you can hear them, and I'm like, no.
I'm becoming.
Judas.
That's how y'all sing. That's how y'all sing every week. That's how y'all sing every week on this show.
True. And so,
come on, exec, you can do it. Lead us. No, sorry. Go on with the inner circle. These were their New Year's resolutions, right?
I'm becoming. Judas in my mind. I'm becoming. Judas in my mind.
See, look at this. It's Wednesday Night Fever, everybody.
It's Wednesday. You know what that means.
What it is? Everybody's on drugs. That's what everybody is. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching a popular review. Please make sure you like, love, and share this to all of your wrestling timelines and groups. And make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Matt Dog Kelly from Behind the Rope says, hey guys, and Executive Chris Harris, what's going on, Matt Dog Kelly? Make sure you say hi to the Sheriff as well as Evil Dose and Sicario over there. Has a lot to say tonight. Derek Mitchell says Sammy did call Jericho a tag team slut. Don't protect the Sheriff.
And I'll be the Urban Dictionary. Obviously, a tag team slut is somebody who's had multiple partners. That's all.
Whoa!
Charmaine Marie says Brian Cage is sexy. Wow.
Whoa! Multiple partners.
I'd agree.
Okay, listen, it makes sense.
I lost my track because you got.
I don't think you needed to be the urban interpreter for that one. That one was pretty clear.
I just wanted to make the partners joke. That's all that was.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to make that pun, but yeah. So they are gonna. The moral of this whole segment is that next week there's gonna be a 3-way tag team match. It'll be Jericho and MJF versus Santana and Ortiz versus Hager and Guevara, and the winner will be the official tag team for Inner Circle, and so they'll challenge for the tag titles. But they did end the segment in solidarity, and they gave a big middle finger together, and they said, "We're better than you, and you know it," and that was that.
Didn't one of them say something, and MJF said, "You're ruining it, Poppy"? What did he say?
Yeah, he said, that was I think that was Santana. I don't remember what he said. Santana said something about he pointed something out, and then MJF was like, "You're ruining it. Just shut up." And I was just like, "Okay, well."
Okay.
I don't know what Santana said. I'll be honest with you. And then I'll go into the next segment because it's very short. Dark Order and Hangman. They announced that Hangman will tag with Dark Order next week. And then after that match, Hangman will announce if he's going to join Dark Order.
Oh,
don't you dare.
So bad. I happened to hear Evil Uno, the imposter, not even Evil, cutting a completely lame Tim Hortons Canada-style face promo, the Dark Order. Let's just change it to the Downey Fresh Order or something like that. I mean, it's just...
You're not legally allowed to say that after Brody passed.
It's been enough time. I can date again. Meaning, well, date rhymes with hate. I can hate again. Why should my hate die with him? He was the best part of the Dark Order. I mean, he was the thing that made it look good. The only hope they have of that gimmick going forward is to coalesce around Anna Jay and make her like the queen of the Dark Order and focus behind that.
I liked that idea, and I was hoping that they would do that. I could also see Broken Matt Hardy being like a leader for the Dark Order, but he's no longer broken, so.
Yeah, well, but he really is broken. Adam Page will only get. Adam Page rises to the level, but he also drops to the level. I don't think he's going to elevate.
I will not take Hangman slander. Hangman is
It's
great.
not Hangman slander. They're a bunch of albatrosses.
Fight me.
Okay. Listen, you may have an opportunity.
Fight me.
Anyway, fight you or bite you.
Whichever.
I mean, I bite when I fight, so
I'll fight you.
it's really the same. So anyway,
but I agree. Definitely, if he does actually join up with the Dark Order, I might have to hop off the train because I don't want to see that.
okay, listen.
Nobody wants to see that, Sheriff. You're not the only one. But I will give him credit for this. I will give him credit for this. If anybody were to take over the Dark Order, it should probably be Matt Hardy, but he should do it as more of a managerial role and not as a wrestler. Matt Hardy needs to understand, even though he got in decent shape a year ago, his career is over. And he needs to accept the fact that his career is over. Derek Mitchell says they will be going on for a while with Inner Circle. They'll be facing each other every other week. Charmaine Marie says, I meet Brian Cage in Queens 4 years, and he was wrestling against Ken Broadway. Don't know who Ken Broadway is. Don't care. Charmaine Marie says Ken Broadway should wrestle her at AEW. Don't know who Ken Broadway is. Don't care. Derek Mitchell says Hangman Page highs are not high enough, still needs work. Are you familiar? Wow. Sheriff. What the heck was that?
I got the cape on. We will not. I got the cape on for Hangman. We will not.
Why? What? Hangman Page is not that good.
Hangman is my favorite, truthfully.
Really?
Yeah, he's.
Are you a little sweet on him?
That's irrelevant. Okay.
That means yes.
That's completely irrelevant.
Apparently, it's completely relevant.
I think so.
Got it in one.
Listen,
he's a very handsome man.
He could, yeah, and
he's better looking in person than he is on TV. Believe it or not, most people it's the opposite.
Really,
yeah.
I truthfully think that he, like, before COVID came through and ran roughshod, Hangman was kind of their top guy in terms of just who was. Yeah, he was like their up and coming guy. Yeah, he was definitely gonna.
Do you know how long Hangman's been the up-and-coming guy? 6 years he's been the up-and-coming guy.
Well, Hangman Page is not what you want to compete with WWE.
So was Drew McIntyre.
Look at her. She's been on 2 weeks. She's been on 2 weeks, Derek, already alienating fans.
Thank you, Derek.
She already alienating fans because you gave him the middle finger because he said something about Hangman Page. You see how you going? You see how you going?
I gotta say, hold up. Derek is one of our more knowledgeable fans.
He is. He's very intelligent. But let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's take a break from AEW NXT real quick. Sheriff, where are you from?
I'm from Brooklyn.
Wow, mistake number one. All right, so you from Brooklyn. You live in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
The fans want to know. Wow, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. Did you ever want to?
Brooklyn is great. What do you mean?
No, you haven't evolved past such mediocrity. Did you ever want to get past Brooklyn, like go to a real city or state outside of New York?
Staten Island?
I'll have you know.
All New York sucks.
Where are you from, exact?
I'm from DC. I live in Orlando.
You're from DC?
You do not do that. Do not do that.
Do I need to say anything? I don't think I do.
I don't think so because you're from Brooklyn, so you can't say anything. Charmaine says Kim Broadway wrestles at House of Glory, Young Bucks private party. Nobody cares. Derek Mitchell says thank you, Evil Dose. I appreciate it. That's the first time somebody thanked Evil Dose for anything. All right. So what was the next thing that happened on NXT? Let's talk about some NXT. I want to know what happened.
You want to talk about NXT? I got NXT for you. So we come back with one of the teams I was talking about before. The Grizzled Young Veterans are facing.
You're from Brooklyn. So disappointed.
As we all know, Everrise is really just the Young Bucks when they work their second job. So kudos to the Young Bucks working both shows again tonight. Excellent job, boys. I tip my cap to you. So this is the first match in the Dusty Rhodes Classic. It's a heel versus heel match. They've been spending a lot of time on Grizzled Young Veterans. Even if they don't do much with them, they've focused on them every week for the past 3 or 4 weeks. The match is mostly the Grizzled Young Veterans on offense in the first half. Very Minnesota Wrecking Crew brainbusters, keeping the ring in half, working body parts, but a little bit more high-flying than those guys were, but like a strategy match. Then all of a sudden, Martel, I'm not sure really which one it is, he he gets a hot tag in, and he hits with a whole bunch of offense. And all of a sudden, Ever-Rise is they're actually sort of taking control, doing some pretty good tandem offense.
That's because everybody from Brooklyn is on the slow train.
Boo.
Okay. And then all of a sudden, the guy who's not Bartel or Martel, Zach Gibson absolutely kills him on the outside. He does something basically to crush his larynx. He does like a double knife shot to the larynx, and the guy folds like a leaf, and he's gone. So then they do a double team on the inside, and the Grizzled Young Veterans win. They then show us all of the teams in the men's side, and they've added more teams. All I can say is some of these teams. I mean, Lucha House Party is in the Dusty Classic. I'm not really sure why. But there is a mystery team tonight, GSK, or it sounds like MSK.
MSK, who are they?
Well, we're not gonna spoil that surprise yet. But I can tell you one thing what's that?
That was later in the show?
Yeah, it's later in the show.
Right, don't give me hints because I want to be surprised because I really was interested in seeing who MSK was. So
you can guess what the name stands for MSK because I was trying to do it. All I can tell you is it didn't help me, but maybe it will help you. Anyway,
let's go to AEW.
You should look at the bracket.
Okay.
Well, there was also a recap of the last women's standing match and some stuff about Raquel. And,
Raquel Gonzalez put a picture up today, and I shared her. She was my Woman Crush Wednesday. I've always, I think she's hot. She's 6 foot. I'm 6'3". She's 6 feet. Everybody who's any woman who's above 5'6" is sexy. Any woman below 5'6" is cute. So Raquel Gonzalez is.
You know what we said?
Sexy.
That's height slander.
Huh?
That's height slander. She can be 5'6" with heels.
If you're below 5'6", you're only cute. You can't be sexy. No way.
This is not only cute. This is smoking.
Okay, alta. Cebu? No, that was French. How tall are you?
No, you can't kill him. You can't kill him yet. Okay, sorry.
Don't kill me. I want to know how tall she is.
Yeah. It's about 5'3".
Oh, you're short? Damn.
No.
How tall are you?
How can you kill him?
How
with knives, with
stop being violent.
Arms, large
Stop being violent. My daughters need their father. But Evil Dose, how tall are you?
5'10" even.
Oh, you're short. Sheriff, how tall are you?
I'm 5'5".
Brown eyes. Smile like the sun. Hey, look. Here's my thing, right? Raquel Gonzalez is hot, so I'm glad they showed a segment with her because she's going to be a star one day. I really see her being the next big thing in WWE from NXT outside of Io Shirai. Those are your two women that are going to be big stars in WWE main roster. Io Shirai and Raquel Gonzalez. Anybody disagree with me?
I don't disagree. I would add one more.
Who?
Actually, I'll add two more. I think Rhea Ripley is going to do well this year on the main roster.
I wasn't counting her.
And the end of the year, towards next year, Xia Li.
Yes. She's hot too. She's also in there.
Whether she's hot or not, she's amazing. She's just
hot.
The whole thing is fabulous. Well, she's short. You can't call her hot because she's probably 5'2".
I can't call her sexy. And I met Xia Li. She's very short. Well, I met all of them. Xia Li is very
cute.
She's cute.
Okay. If you want to call her cute and hot, I guess that's shoot.
Bang bang. I would shoot her. Not in bullets. Not with the bullets. Sheriff, speaking of shooting, you shoot people. Sheriff, what are your thoughts and what are your opinions when it comes to the women of NXT? I know you watch AEW All Elite Whackness, but do you think that there are any women in NXT? Because let's be real. I mean, if you say nothing else about AEW compared to WWE, the women's division is better in WWE by far.
I think actually, Jeff, I think he said the first match was the women's match, and that it wasn't. It was Vivian Cat sexy. I don't know who that is.
She's like
that's her.
The La Cigar. So, Charmaine, is she Brian Cage sexy?
I don't know who Brian Cage is. Now, who are the first people in the NXT match?
Are you asking me? Who are the first people on the NXT match?
Yeah.
First NXT.
It was Shotzi Blackheart and Candice LeRae.
Say no more. Shotzi Blackheart is garbage. She's garbage. I don't know why she has a job in the NXT, WWE. I don't understand it. Candice LeRae, I didn't understand it for a while. I understand it now, but she'll never be main roster. Candice LeRae will never be main roster in WWE. But Shotzi Blackheart needs to be fired.
It's developmental, though, to be fair.
Well, she's 37. She's NXT natty.
Oh, never mind. Jeez.
But Tamina just turned 42.
She did.
Natalya is not far behind her.
I brought that up to say that from what I know, the NXT women's division is a lot better. But apparently they're not all winners from what Jeff was telling me.
Oh, look at that. She couldn't say that on air, but she typed it. She said thank you to Charmaine. Thank you, Charmaine. Thank you for typing. Keep the comments flowing. Keep the comments coming. Was that it for NXT? Can we go to AEW?
Well, I stopped because I can continue, but we hit a commercial break.
I agree.
So
Let's hit a commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. You're watching the unpopular review NXT AEW the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this brief commercial break. Find out what we're going to review on Saturday. Doubleheader.
What do you need, William? Just your authorization for a special operation, Mr. President.
We've managed to gather evidence of a mutant training facility
In upstate New York.
This facility is a school.
Sure it is. Nobody really knows how many even exist, or how to find them, except you.
Shayna interferes and puts Charlotte in the Karafuda clutch after Charlotte puts Nia in the figure 4 leg lock, and we're about to begin the Karafuda clutch.
I thought it was Karakuda clutch.
What's that again?
I thought it was the Karakuda clutch.
Go again?
Why are you zooming in on me?
Can you spell that for me? Spell it. Karakuda. Go ahead.
Karakuda. Karakuda clutch.
Karakuda like Barracuda. Yes. It's Kirafuda. I believe it's Kirafuda. Kirafuda clutch.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Mr. Spelling Bee champion over here.
No, it's all right. It's all right, David. You're only just a co-host of a wrestling show.
I can assure you the three of us know how to spell a little better than the three of them. But ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Unpopular Review NXT AEW edition. Join here today, Evil Dose Malachi, your host, the sheriff, your host, the executive consultant, sitting in for the Willatine Dream, who was not able to make it. Or what's he call himself? I don't know what he calls himself. Will is something. Anyway, he's asleep, probably smoked too much. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you like, love, and share this video to all your wrestling timelines and groups, and subscribe to us. This is a great episode. Hey, I didn't get to see most of AEW. I didn't get to see most of NXT. I'm interested in hearing these two opinions when it comes to the show. What were we on now? We left off NXT. We left off AEW. I think we need to go to AEW. Sheriff, take it away.
Right. Also, I want to say, I think Derek knew I was joking, but on the off chance he didn't, I'm sorry. I was being facetious for the sake of this. But
don't do any fear. Don't do any fear. Go back down to them.
Derek's an OG like me. He knows what the deal. He knows what the deal is.
I appreciate
he knows the deal. Green screen. He knows the deal. Green screen. Go ahead.
I should change my name actually to Green Screen, but anyway.
I can change it.
There was like a video package for Darby versus Cage, which is later in the show. So I'll just kind of skip over that. And then they had Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus Danny Limelight and the Varsity Blondes. But it was actually meant to be Kenny and the Young Bucks versus Limelight and the Varsity Blondes, but Kenny kind of screwed them over. It was definitely, like, I think he was trying to just be petty for the sake of petty to drill home to the audience that, you know, that rift is there. So originally before the match, Don Callis asked the Young Bucks if they could do their entrances separate. Because when you're the elite, usually you come in together, but they're like, oh, I like your theme song. You should, and you're the champions. You guys should have your own entrance. So Young Bucks was like, yeah, that makes sense. Kenny comes in. He does his big extravagant entrance. And then Callis is trying to introduce Kenny's partners. And he's like, oh, they're the tag team champions of the world, and they're Kenny's best friends. And then he goes, the Good Brothers, and the Good Brothers come out. And then they kind of pan to the Young Bucks, and they're just doing a little head shake. They're like, okay, well, yeah. So, and I mean, that's like okay, so you didn't want me as your partner, you could have just said that. I think Kenny did that on purpose, or they scripted him to do that on purpose to drill home that there's a rift there. So that was just Don Callis and Kenny being petty, because they were pretty much friendly to each other before that happened. And then the match was pretty good. Obviously the Elite won, and they did announce them as the Elite when Kenny and the Good Brothers won. So I guess there's 2 Elite now. There's Elite with and without Kenny. That's going on. And then so like a bunch of like Jon Moxley comes down to the ring. And there's 3 people in the ring still. That's Kenny and the Good Brothers. And he clearly doesn't care. So he's solo, and he just comes out to the ring and he goes straight for Kenny. Obviously, it's 3-on-1. So they beat him down. Everybody runs out, and it's a big beatdown. The Lucha Bros actually came out to help Moxley, but they didn't really get far. And then it's a big pull apart, and a bunch of randoms come down.
Wait. The Lucha Brothers didn't get far against the Good Brothers.
Well, here's the thing. There was a lot going on. So they're defending them, right? But like when everybody comes in to pull apart, there's not much you can do. You know what I mean?
So you're saying that there was a bunch of jobbers were in the ring cluttering things up.
Yeah, the Lucha Bros originally came to help Moxley, but then everyone came, and so it just kind of became like a mess. And then some poor guy got a paradigm shift. Don't know who it was, but he made the grave mistake of trying to hold Moxley back, and Moxley just gets him out of there.
Just a poor guy.
yeah, it looked really sad. He sold it really well. I was like, oh. And then the young
Bucks. Was he a regular, or was he just like an extra that's probably trying?
He was an extra. He did nothing wrong but his job. He was an extra. And then the Young Bucks come down to help Moxley. The Lucha Bros drop the Bucks, and things go left again. Everybody comes out. And then they pan to Omega and Callis, who I didn't realize, but somehow Omega made it out the ring, and he's by the entrance ramp, and he gets out of dodge. So he kind of does the coward move, and he's like, well, you guys can fight it out. Kind of like how I remember in WWE when Sami Zayn saw everybody chasing after the 24/7 title, and he's like, you idiots. He's like, I can do that. I'm going this way. That's pretty much what Omega said. Like, why would I fight out here? I'm just going to go.
So another week, no Rich Swann, no Motor City Machine Guns.
And I want to know, are they like building up for that? Like possibly where the Impact World Champion actually says, hey, you can't be invading our shit because we're an actual organization that's been around longer than you. Well, I'm waiting for that.
There's an Impact pay-per-view this weekend, and the main event is Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers against Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns.
But
so
Rich Swann has a match coming up, I think, if I remember correctly, against Moose for the title. So maybe they're waiting to drop that title to Moose because Rich Swann against Kenny Omega is not as intimidating, so to speak, as opposed to Moose versus Kenny Omega when you're like, oh, crap, maybe Impact actually has a chance.
I am telling you, I'm not sure that this relationship is going to last past Saturday.
I think it is. I think Impact is getting the rub that they want from AEW. And
are they? Do you have any numbers for that? Yes, I have the numbers.
I don't have numbers for it, but the bottom line is a week or two ago. Well, not a week or two before NXT. I'm not NXT. AEW and Impact had this relationship. Were we talking about Impact Wrestling at all?
It doesn't matter. It's the same people talking about it. Nobody's watching. Let me tell you, they spiked at 177,000. 1 week after that, they went down to 144,000. Then they had a couple of best of shows where they went to 133,000.
Or this is on Access.
This is on Access, and 103,000. But I can tell you that the Twitch numbers, the Kenny Omega first week, jumped up to about 54,000. The next week they went down to 14,000. The following weeks they stopped reporting. So we know what that's all about. Okay, so then last week, no more best of shows. And Omega and
that's just disrespectful.
And Tony are on, are going to be on the match. I mean, on the card rather. Also to speak the 2020 average Impact viewership. By the way, all of 2020, 154,000. Even during COVID, even during revamping, even without anything. So the average 154,000. Last week, they did 148,000. So they rebounded from 103,000 to 148. Not bad. Last night, they did 161,000. So up 13,000 with Omega appearing on the show. Up 13,000, not bad, but it's only net 7,000 from their 2020 average after all of this stuff.
Omega's not
tell me
the one that they
what kind of rub are they getting?
Omega's not the one they need to throw in there to get the ratings. Let's just be real. I mean, I know AEW's ratings have increased a little bit over the course of the last month or so, but Omega's not their rating straw. I hate to say it like that. If AEW really wants to help Impact, they'll throw in Chris Jericho. That's the number one draw in ratings or anything. Let's just be real. Everybody knows Chris Jericho. Or they need to throw in Dean Ambrose. That's the only way they're going to
Impact can't afford Dean Ambrose.
Impact might not be the one paying for it. Impact might not be the one paying for it.
Kenny's doing this for his friend, Don Callis. Don Callis and the Good Brothers are the only ones getting checks out of this.
That's why I was going to say, I don't think that the relationship ends. Maybe it ends the way that we know it, but the Good Brothers are going to be on AEW, I think, a lot for the foreseeable future.
But are the Good Brothers relevant? And I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, I think on SmackDown. The Good Brothers, since they came back to America, I'll say, have only had real pushes where people talk about them when they start putting themselves with the member from the Bullet Club, whether it be Finn Balor, whether it be AJ Styles, whether it be Kenny Omega. If they're by themselves, nobody cares.
It's worse than that.
Watches, nobody pays attention.
People only talk about the Good Brothers when either their contract is about to run out or they get released or they get signed. After that, nobody talks about them. But I will tell you what will happen. If Impact's buy rate for this pay-per-view is good enough to report, because they haven't reported a buy rate in years. If it's good enough to report, then that probably means that it will continue. But I guarantee you this is on a week-to-week or month-to-month basis, and it's only involving a few players. I would not be surprised if Tony Khan is paying the freight, but that's not how wrestling has ever worked in the past.
The Impact Wrestling name, however, well, not the name, the company has been around for so long. TNA is actually a known company, right?
Impact is TNA.
TNA has been with the wrestling business since 2002. I mean, to see how much it's declined, but they've held on, right? They went through so many transitions where people are like, they're going out of business, They don't go out of business. 114,000 views. It's really disheartening to hear when they used to be up and going against Monday Night Raw, even though their ratings were never anywhere near Monday Night Raw. They're getting somewhere close to where Monday Night Raw is now. And they're definitely getting over AEW NXT. So it's amazing to see how much they declined, because TNA really at one point in time was really, really good. A really, really good company with a lot of good superstars in it. And I dare say, this might be unpopular, but hey, we're unpopular reviews. Shaka, where the walls fell. You're killing me. And I'll say this, he threw me off. I dare say in 2007 maybe to 2011, TNA was better than AEW is right now.
Well, yeah, but to say that a show at its peak was better than another show, I would hope that it was.
Yeah, but is AEW at its peak now? I mean, it's only been around for a year and some change, so it's hard to say peak.
I would hope not.
Is it better now than it was a year ago?
Yes.
I agree.
Yes, but almost no. This is right around when AEW started turning it around last year. It was right around the Jericho Cruise 2 weeks. That's when AEW got good. Before that, it was a disaster.
The Forgotten Sons. Okay, so I will say this. The Forgotten Sons are better in-ring talent. That might be unpopular. The Forgotten Sons are better in-ring talent. I think the Good Brothers are better as far as charisma is concerned, but that's not saying much. But I think Forgotten Sons are actually a little bit underrated in their ring work, but they're boring as far as charisma, which is why you put them with King Corbin, who's a heat magnet. The problem with King Corbin is right now, and I know we're on NXT AEW, we'll get back on track in a second, but the problem with King Corbin right now is I think King Corbin is a heel magnet to the point where he needs fans. He needs a crowd. If he doesn't have a fan, he doesn't have a crowd where he can excite that crowd, his charisma is not shining as much, so he becomes exactly where he is right now, which is completely stagnant. Some people shine in the COVID area, and some people don't. And I think King Corbin does not shine. Let's go ahead and talk about the next segment of AEW, or we're on NXT. I thought we were on AEW, right?
Well, we just went over AEW, so it'd be NXT.
So we're on NXT. Evil Dose, take it away.
All right, so Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart enter as the first women's team in the Women's Dusty Classic, which is going to start next week. We then go to Johnny Gargano, accompanied by Austin Theory, to face Dexter Lumis. Lumis is really slippery. He's sort of like moving like a kangaroo snake. He's both slippery and agile. It's pretty cool. Basically, this match is mostly Lumis evading Johnny Gargano's offense, though Johnny gets some in, but it's mostly Lumis on top. But Austin Theory distraction leads to a dart, which is what I call a small spear, because Johnny Gargano gave it a spear, but he's very small. Get it? A dart. He does a couple of forearms to the kidneys. Lumis recovers. He hits a spine buster, a bulldog. He does a slingshot suplex to make Tully Blanchard proud, and then he does a belly-to-back suplex right into a Hulk Hogan leg drop for a 2 count, which was ridiculous. Gargano blocks the silence. Lumis gets rolled up, but he kicks out. But he kicks out straight into a super kick. He kicks out again. There's some back and forth. Lumis attempts to apply the silence. The Theory interferes again. Lumis applies the silence onto Austin Theory. So sort of like the match with Candice, Johnny sneaks in and gets the win. Lumis is beating up Theory, puts him in the silence again until Gargano attacks him from behind. Then there's a double team where they're kicking him down, stomping, and then Kushida runs in for the rescue. And around this point in time, Wade Barrett turns face. So last week, Jericho was a face the first half of Dynamite. He was a heel the second half. Wade Barrett is copying that gimmick this week. He was a face heel the first half. Now he's face. So anyway, I first wrote down, is there going to be a tag team match next week with Lumis and Kushida against Gargano and Theory? But no, it looks like Kushida was just going after Gargano, and that title match is already signed for next week, or they're facing each other. I'm not sure it's a title match, but it's Kushida against Gargano next week. I think it's a title match. We then see the tag team champions with Pete Dunne in the back, again, not calling themselves the brand, not being referred to as the brand. And they basically say Kyle O'Reilly has put himself into harm's way. The next segment, we're still not a commercial, is Wade Barrett interviewing in a sit-down. He's in between Ciampa and Thatcher. It's basically to promote the Fight Pit match next week. They're asking Thatcher what his injury was. He won't reveal it. He's saying, don't worry, it's not going to affect the match. So I'm really not sure if that was an angle or not, but since they're not saying what it was, I'm not sure. Anyway, basically the bottom line is Thatcher saying, I don't know why you're coming after me. I don't have a problem with you. I actually agree with a lot of what you say. Ciampa's like, when I was talking about changing the culture, there's a lot of things I saw that I didn't like. And I know that sometimes that means I have to put myself at a disadvantage. So I'm stepping into your lion cage pit match because that's your territory. But as a grappler, Timothy Thatcher, you're top notch, second to none. But as a teacher, you suck. So he doesn't like his teaching methods. That's basically the story here as to why these two guys who are basically exactly alike are fussing and feuding. And now we get to a commercial. So if we want to switch back to AEW, this seems like a natural stopping point.
I agree. Greenskin, go ahead.
Cool. So this next segment, I was actually really excited for because I tend to enjoy like makeshift wrestler interview shows. So they had Britt Baker. She has a show called The Waiting Room. And then her first guest is Cody Rhodes.
Of course.
Naturally, right? This
that'd be Dustin.
Really, really good. And then it kind of went, and then I guess it brought it back together. But so she's kind of doing she was almost doing like stand-up comedy almost when she was like interviewing him. I mean, not interviewing him, when she was introducing him. And she poked fun at his neck tattoo, her and everyone else on the internet. And then she jokes about how there's a contractual obligation for him to have pyro for his entrance. So she takes out these little sparklers, and then she gives one to her assistant, and she holds it over the door as he comes in. So pretty much everything that people say about Cody, she put it into like a little package. So that was actually really good. And then he doesn't even get to say anything, really. Jade Cargill comes out. That's Shaq's girl. And so also she said that she did make a joke about Cody's baby. She said that the baby will probably have an action figure before she does. And I was like, yeah, I was like that. And so I was like, that makes sense, but it's a baby. That is what it is. So she comes out, and then she's wearing like her, her attire and stuff. And they're like, oh, this is, and she goes, oh, this is what you wear to the dentist's office. And Cargos were like, well, you can wear what you want when you're a bad bitch. And I was like, okay, here we go. And then Jade is like, no one gives a damn that Brandy's pregnant. Actually, you did her a favor because when she comes back, I'm going to beat her ass. So Jade is just out the gate. And then she's like, also, by the way, I want my match. Where's my match? So she came out hot. She's very upset with Cody. Cody still doesn't even get to say anything. And so then Red Velvet comes. And she challenges Cargill essentially.
Also a cute woman.
Also, all three of them.
Red Velvet, Jade Cargill. Oh,
and Britt Baker.
Yeah, her too. But Jade Cargill and Red Velvet. What's Red Velvet's real name? I forgot her name. I'm friends with her on Facebook.
Stephanie Cordona.
Yes, Stephanie Cordona.
Better watch out for Wes Briscoe, bro. There we go.
Wes Briscoe, if Wes Briscoe comes at me, I'll just send him to you after him.
So unfortunately, Red Velvet gets punched in the face, so they're fighting. Her beautiful face, it gets punched.
Who punched her in the face?
Cargill.
Oh yeah, she had it.
She can do it. Jade is
she
hot.
can do it.
I just want to go to the gym with her. Like, oh.
That's what you want to do? Of all the choices?
Yeah, he goes to the gym.
That's how
I
it
just want to
starts.
have a good workout with her. Okay.
That's how it starts.
You're smooth.
And so, I mean, and this is where it got kind of weird. Red Velvet and Cargill are in a scuffle, and suddenly the entire women's locker room is there for some reason. And so they're pulling apart Cargill and Red Velvet. And then Britt Baker shows a video of her attacking Thunder Rosa. How we got here, I don't know. Things just, and I don't know where Cody is. Cody's gone now. He still hasn't said a word. He never will. Sorry.
Well, he won the Masters recently.
Say what?
He won the Masters. He was wearing the green blazer.
Yeah. And then also they were promoting Go Big Show a little bit. They had Britt Baker say something about it. Because, I mean, if Cody doesn't get to speak, that's kind of the whole point. Because it came on after the show. So she did talk about Go Big Show. And then Cody didn't speak. And then now we're here. We're here, and the whole women's locker room is there. They're fighting. There's a screen. And there's Jade Cargill.
Oh, my God. Look at her. She's...
Yeah. Bro.
And she's a mom.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Her body, that's post-pregnancy. That's crazy.
She's a mom. Hey, Dave, look. Have you seen her? I know.
Oh, I have. She's hot.
Yeah, interracial dating's real. Look at this. Look at it.
That's David's mother?
Oh, please. She's hotter than David's mom. No offense.
What? David,
She's hotter than David.
Who's better, Jake Atlas or Orange Cassidy? Orange Cassidy.
Oh, it's Jake.
Orange Cassidy is way better than Jake Atlas.
Yeah.
He is.
At least Orange Cassidy is a character that's interesting.
Orange Cassidy is a huge talent. I do not want to see him in WWE. There are a lot of wrestlers who I think are better in AEW, and he is one of them. I don't think WWE would treat him well.
Sure.
No, and I say this, and I'm going off topic because the rumor is that Ricochet is not signing his contract. He might go to AEW, and I had this conversation with Mr. Sanderson over here earlier. I don't think it's a smart idea for Ricochet to go to AEW. I don't see his career changing much from AEW to WWE at all. And at first, I thought, just like all the other internet people, like, hey, you go to AEW, you're going to get a better career and stuff like that. Then I saw Rusev.
Is this chicken done?
It'll be done in 5 minutes. So I don't think that'll be a good move for him.
Well, you can. I mean, Rusev is an example of it not going the right way, but there's examples of it going the right way.
FTR.
They're fine.
By the way, yeah.
I mean, I want you to have her body. I want you to have her body.
Yeah.
Does anyone know Sean Spears after he walked out? No one. Not a soul.
I'm telling you, not as many people do. Even bless his heart. Luke Harper did not do that much better in AEW as opposed to WWE.
Okay, I mean, John Moxley is the one who did better.
And then there's
Cody has done better, but he's the boss.
There's Jericho, but Jericho is never down bad anyway.
Yeah, I can't say Jericho did better in AEW than WWE. Yeah. I can't honestly say John Moxley.
Maybe not.
Well, it depends on the era that you're talking about, because Jericho's reinvented himself like 20 times.
True, but Jericho has been a staple of WWE since he pretty much premiered in WWE.
Right. So
what people need to realize is Jericho was very loyal to WWE for almost 20 years. The reason how come Jericho has a bad taste in my mouth with WWE because of his cruise. He wanted NXT superstars on his cruise, and WWE said no. When that happened, he had a big bitter taste in his mouth, and that's when he was opened up to doing all this other stuff. Before that, he used to always say for the longest time, I would never wrestle for any other company in the United States other than WWE. But he was so pissed, he opened his doors up to AEW. He's not as upset as he was as you think. He's just upset over that situation and he can't get over it. Dean Ambrose was upset that he was not the top guy. But as I told people, and I argued with one of my roommates before about this, if you have the talent, especially in 2018, that the WWE had with the Roman Reigns, the Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar, Miz, all these people, is Dean Ambrose in your top 5 superstars? I'm not sure he is. But you go to AEW now.
Mad about that though. I don't think he was mad about not necessarily being a top guy, even though he was.
School me green screen.
I definitely think that he was just mad because what he was doing was not good shit. He's like, I'll be in the mid card, just don't give me hokey shit to do. Because right now he's not even technically the top guy. He lost the title. So
3 weeks ago.
Yeah. So he's not gonna leave now that he lost the title. Like, he doesn't care.
Do you see him staying at AEW, or do you see him when his contract ends going back to WWE?
I don't. I was gonna say I don't see him going back to WWE, but I don't see a lot of people going back to WWE that go back. So I don't really know at this point. I don't see Ricochet leaving WWE. I'll tell you that much. But
you don't think Ricochet's leaving WWE? Apparently, Derek Mitchell's saying that Ricochet shouldn't leave WWE. But you can't always listen to dirt sheets. That doesn't mean Ricochet is not signed. David will tell you he and I were having a conversation with Matt Riddle yesterday, and I know the conversation the dirt sheets were reporting all day because everybody kept posting, people messaging me saying, "Hey, Matt Riddle hasn't signed a new contract with WWE." Let me put that to rest. You heard it here on Popular Reviews. Matt Riddle signed that contract a month ago. He's going to be in WWE for a while. So anything you see about that, that's bullcrap. The man told me himself, literally, sat on the couch next to me, told himself he signed that contract. All right, so. Please understand, you don't believe everything you read in the dirt sheets, but I hope for Ricochet's sake, I don't see him doing that much better in AEW. I don't think that's a good move for him. I think he should stay. If he's going to leave WWE, he should stay in the Indies. Otherwise than that, stay with WWE, and we'll see what will transpire.
Define Indies, though.
MLW.
There are no Indies. Go MLW. The most.
Do you think Santana and Ortiz can be AEW? I think so.
Yes,
I think
of course
so.
they can.
Before the end of the year, I see Santana and Ortiz being AEW Tag Team Champions. Because you know what? Young Bucks are over, and pay attention to me, green screen. Young Bucks are overrated. Overrated.
I don't think so. I think
overrated.
They're not overrated. I don't think Santana Ortiz, their story is championship. The rest of the year is going to be all about the inner circle, together, breaking up, and then feuding. And that's going to take us into 2022. Maybe in 2022 they'll be in the title picture. All right, shall we go back to the shows that we're supposed to be covering tonight?
Yeah,
go back to the code.
I'll say this: there's an ending to this. So
yeah, go ahead.
Everyone's fighting. There's a screen. Britt Baker is beating up Thunder Rosa, and then the screen changes to a taped promo of Thunder Rosa. I know this is all over the place. That's because it was actually all over the place. And then she says February 3rd at Beach Break they'll fight. And so Britt Baker can no longer run from her. Britt Baker protests, but she does protest too much because the match is happening. They showed a graphic on the screen, so that automatically means it's happening. And then the segment ends and the match is confirmed. So yeah, that was Britt Baker, the waiting room with Cody Rhodes.
Excellent. All right, well, going back to NXT, we cut back to, I think it's Michelle McKenzie or whatever the interviewer's name is, interviewing the Undisputed Era Adam Cole and Roderick Strong, the technician's father. And Kyle O'Reilly is there as well. And basically, Undisputed Era is ready to win this Dusty Classic. And are they worried about Birch and Lorcan and Dunn interfering? Not the brand. If they're worried about them interfering, well, Kyle O'Reilly says, well, I'm going to be there making sure that things are safe. And Adam Cole says, as you should, Kyle. So they're still together. Their interaction is a little weird if you're looking for it, but not really. So there may or may not be a slow burn here where it's still not entirely clear about that. Okay, so anyway, the match is now the mismatched tag team of Isaiah Scott, Swerve Scott, and Jake Atlas, who were formerly rivals and now are teammates. They make a big deal of shaking hands with each other, and they're going to face the new surprise team, which is just vacant of MSK. And I couldn't figure out what MSK was, but I can give you one hint now, and I can tell you that MSK does not stand for marijuana smoke kills.
Sorry, Willie.
Yeah. So no, it's not Willie. It's 2 out of the 3 former Rascals from Impact. So they're going by Nash Carter and Wes Lee. So there's no MSK in that. So I don't know what MSK stands for. Does he know we're doing a TV show?
He does not know we're doing a show, even though he directed it, and he's about to take my place in a second.
Oh, that's awesome. So anyway, the story is, can the former rivals work together? And MSK, it's their debut. Can they get over? They're an unknown commodity. That's their advantage. It's a pretty high-flying match, and they sort of remind me of a younger, not looks-wise, but moveset-wise, they remind me of a younger version of the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah, MSK,
yeah. They did an assisted standing moonsault, which was actually pretty impressive. So there was a lot of tandem offense, though, surprising, between Atlas and Swerve, including a 450 splash by Swerve, and Carter broke up the count. And MSK actually got the upset win, so that's not usually what happens in NXT. Usually,
but as a debut, yeah, because it's developmental. But the way they promoted them, you would have thought they were going to win.
Yeah, and there was also a mismatched team, which is there. So next, they tell us about the Women's Dusty Classic tournament starting next week, and they give us little, well, not even vignettes, just like screenshots, but moving screenshots of the first 4 teams. They only announced 4 teams, and we already know who 2 of them are. So it's Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, not Indy Wrestling, Strike 2. Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter. So I guess they'll be like the K&K Express or something. Mercedes Martinez and Tony Storm are a team, which doesn't seem like a very good combination. I mean, actually, they both are, but together, I don't see the chemistry there. And we already know Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. So it's beginning next week. Then we have like the Kung Fu Theater recap of sort of what was going on with Boa and Zia and all of that stuff. And we go to a commercial so we can kick it back to AEW and the Green Screen Sheriff.
Mean Screen
The
Sheriff.
Green Screen Sheriff.
Yeah. So we had Jurassic Express versus FTR. They kind of set up this match last week because Marko was told that he hides behind people bigger than him, and that he can't win without someone bigger than him. Meanwhile, he's tagging with Jungle Boy, who is bigger than him. So this doesn't really prove much, but they did have a match. Cash Wilder, it starts with Marko stunting Cash Wilder. Cash just picks him up, carries him straight to the corner, just manhandles him, and then he tags in Dax. Dax actually, he tried to, I guess, bully Marko in the same kind of way. And Marko gave him kind of a pretty stiff slap to the face. Like, not a punch, he smacked him right straight across the face. It looked pretty good. It didn't do much though. It just made Dax angry, and so he continued to manhandle Jungle Boy. But it was a pretty, I would say it was a competitive match, but it was only competitive because FTR let it be. They spent a lot of time just beating up Marko. Even led JR to say that he felt uncomfortable because he was just like going on and on and on beating up beating up a Marko stunt. And then he said at the end of the match it was a lot more competitive than I thought it would be. And they weren't really competitive. They just kind of let him stay. But it was a fun match to watch because I think Marko and Jungle Boy, like the way they do their tag team moves is very fast paced and it's entertaining. Also, like Marko's son, he's a good face. Like he got the crowd into it. Everybody was cheering for him, and he was doing a good job making it exciting. But it didn't really prove much because one, he's still teaming with Jungle Boy, and two, all of his best and most effective offense were tag team moves where he was working with Jungle Boy. So I mean, it didn't really prove much, but they lost anyway. And so FTR wins. And JR says the match exceeded his expectations, which, again, only because FTR let it. Tully gets involved, and so they hit the big risk because Jungle Boy is distracted, and then they win. And that was the end of that, yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to Marko Studd, I feel like there's not really much you can do with him because, no offense to him, I mean, he's shorter than, like, pretty much the entire roster. I mean, they started teasing a feud with him and -1, Brody Lee Jr. And honestly, I can honestly see it happening in a few years, maybe, but not now because Brody Lee Jr. is 8 years old. But yeah, going on the topic of FTR, just like Chris said with the Young Bucks, I think these guys are so overrated. They think they're hot shit, and they really aren't. They're not that great of a tag team. I get the old school style of wrestling. I might not be the biggest fan of. But when it comes to FTR, I really don't know what people see in them. And, Chris hates it when I say this. That's just me.
I mean, I think I know what it is that they see. It just doesn't really do much for me. Like you said, they're very traditional, like in terms of how they do matches. They have good looks about them. Like they look like legitimate tough guys. At least I think so. But there's no personality there. Like what else is there? But I mean, I understand what people like. It just doesn't really do much for me.
I think their act works very well in AEW because where they're normally sort of bland and vanilla everywhere else, they stand out there exactly because they are workmen, like they're just working hands. They're like mechanics in the ring, and everyone else there is sort of like showmen. So I think that that works for them, and Tully is a pretty good spokesperson, but fits that role as well. I mean, I'm not saying I think they're the greatest, but I think that they work well in AEW, and I think AEW works well for them.
And I always enjoy their matches, like you said. So what can I really say?
I mean, I'm never going to like Jungle Boy and Marko Stunt. Marko Stunt has no business being in a wrestling ring. I don't think Jungle Boy has any business being in a wrestling ring.
You could say that about
I can disagree on that one.
I do say that about a lot of people.
I know, but
Jungle Boy's okay. He's not horrible.
Jungle Boy is a teeny tiny little creature.
Okay.
I'm not interested in watching teeny tiny little creatures wrestle.
Jungle Boy is not that tiny, but I mean he is short, but he's not that tiny.
He's pretty damn. He's very slim. He would make a very good community swimming pool lifeguard.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know why.
If you don't
get a haircut. Why doesn't anyone pull his hair? For God's sake, he's got 6 feet of hair. No one in a year and a half has used it as a weapon against him. Come on.
Well, wrestlers have long hair all the time. They're probably used to it.
Well, okay, but let's see if he's used to it. It hasn't happened once. All right. So am I on for NXT now?
Pass to you, yeah.
Yeah, all right, cool. All right, so we come back and it's Karrion Kross and Scarlett in a vignette, and basically it's Scarlett's like doing witchcraft and incantations, and it's basically Kross. It's now dance with the devil. So I guess Kross is now the devil, or at least dances with the devil, and Scarlett pulls a tarot card. And she pulls the Prince card. Well, the Prince is Finn Balor, so there you go. We then see Xia Li. How is it, Chris?
Xia Li.
and she comes in. But first, we actually see the throne demon in armor, whoever is this secretive master or leader of this faction. I'm not sure if it's a man or a woman. The smoke is there. The throne is there. She's got like sort of chainmail, or he's got chainmail on the bottom half of his or her face, but you can see the war makeup underneath. They've got that anime hair sort of dripping in the front. And then they pan back, and this person, the leader, is flanked by Boa and Zia Lee. So Zaya does the amazing theater entrance where she's twirling around the spear and whatever, and doing all the kung fu moves. She gets into the ring. I'm not even sure they said the person's name. I don't know who it was. Basically, there were two moves. She did like a chop to the neck or to the jaw, and then she did her spinning kick. Match was over. Two moves. She's going to go out, but the Demon Queen, that's what I'm going to call the demon. I'll just call him the demon. Puts up like this kind of hand, like almost like the Dark Order hand. And so it signals for Zia to go back in and give more beating. And then she looks back at the demon. The demon puts the signal back up. More beating. So that happens a couple of times. And then when it's over, her and Boa walk back, and that segment ends, going instantly to a promo with Casey and Caden, who are dressed like a combination of if the Killer Bees were doing Jane Fonda aerobics. So they're like in aerobicized outfits, but in the black and yellow colors. And basically they're saying they're used to being overlooked, but they're going to make history because they're the first female team in the Dusty Classic, and they're in the first women's Dusty Classic, and they're the first female team that's going to win in the Dusty Classic, and they're the first female team that's going to advance in the Dusty Classic. And Caden keeps going, who? And Casey isn't saying us, but she's talking. So whatever their chemistry is, it's entirely internal between them, because this was no bueno. So then we see Breezango coming to the ring with their match with Cole and Strong, with Kyle O'Reilly in tow, coming from different hallways.
Is that the main event?
That's the main event, but here is where the commercial comes. Right, so back to AEW.
You're on the main event already. Well, I'm on second to last one. So, this was Serena Deeb and Tay Conti for the NWA title. Even though it wasn't the AEW title, this is probably one of my favorite matches on the show. It was really good. I know you said that the NXT women's match wasn't good. Well, can't relate because Serena Deeb and Tay Conti really did well. Especially Tay Conti, I was surprised. She dominated most of the match. There was no carrying going on here because we know Serena Deeb can wrestle. So I was really interested to see what Tay Conti was going to do. Most of the match she dominated. I think that Deeb kind of played the comeback queen role, and she showed a lot of fight and a lot of heart, like as a champion. But it was Conti who was really doing most of the work. And it at times seemed like she was really just gonna win because she was really beating down on her, and they had really good chemistry in the ring. Like you could tell that the way like they were able to maximize each other's strengths. And I think that Deeb plays well because going into the match, she's technically not the underdog, but I think that Deeb works better as an underdog in general, and so they were able to kind of mix the match in a way where she was able to have that comeback story. While Tay Conti was able to kind of showcase things that she can do. So that match was really good. And then Deeb had the Deeb talks to win. And then Conti, even though she lost, she definitely was kept strong. Like I could see her being a champ. She's still green, but and she's still with the Dark Order, so that's another strike. She's still green, but she's definitely that somebody that they should keep around and stay. Also, Anna Jay was with her. And after the match, Anna Jay kind of like showed support and was like, "Oh, you'll get it next time, girl," that kind of thing. And then for as young as she is, I looked it up. She's 25. For as young as she is, she's really good. So that was the NWA Women's Title. The next,
I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm not surprised that they work well together because I'm pretty sure Serena Deeb was probably someone who trained Tay Conti when she was in NXT, so they probably worked together quite a bit.
No doubt. Taynara Conti, I actually saw her improvement in NXT last year, and she got frustrated because she felt like she wasn't doing anything. But I did see the improvement of her over time as opposed to when she first started. So shout out to Taynara Conti. I was a big fan. I was very sad to see that she was let go, but I'm glad to see she's making best of her time with AEW.
Yeah, those are two more examples of people who left WWE and are probably doing better in AEW. Ty Conti and Serena Deeb.
And JR kind of called Serena Deeb like the best kept secret because they're like, because Serena Deeb's not like a young talent. She's I think she's almost 40, but like she's really, really good, and a lot of people don't really get to see that.
The problem is she's with NWA, and what I mean by that is the fact that AEW is working with all these promotions that they pretty much killed. NWA had a lot of momentum going on before AEW started. Same thing with Major League Wrestling. You know, I was a big fan of Major League Wrestling, and then they came and they raped their entire promotion. And Impact Wrestling to a certain extent as well. So I mean, you know, they're now giving some stuff back because they really hurt a lot of these promotions when they came up.
For sure. And MLW still has some winners, but I think it's only a matter of time, like before they make their way to AEW. Like I think Alex Hammerstone is going to make his way to AEW at some point, especially because he was working.
He just signed a multi-year extension. Him and Jacob Fatu.
They did?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
End of last year.
Oof.
Give them time. Was that the end of that segment, or do we?
That was the end. Yeah. Well, the next is the main event. So
next is the main event. Let's go to NXT.
Let me just give you a little bit of perspective on one thing because we're talking about MLW.
Sure.
The most recent episode that aired 24 hours ago and change with the Von Erichs and Los Parks for the titles and Mil Muertes debut, 13,000 views so far.
That hurts.
Yeah, the last episode that was a few weeks before that is up to 35,000 views from 3 weeks ago. And that was their Opera Cup final. So, I mean, listen, that's nothing for a major promotion. I am more and more convinced as days go by that MLW is just a money laundering front for Miami drug dealers.
I mean, I didn't want Leo Rush to sign there because I thought Leo Rush kind of deserved to be in a bigger promotion. So.
There's another one.
I like Leo Rush.
People seem to like Leo Rush. I've got no idea why.
He's good.
He's good at complaining.
Yeah. Aren't we all, though?
Fair point. Touche, Sheriff. All right. Well,
let's go to NXT main event.
Yeah, I mean, it actually opens with the backstage, with the locker room segment where Jake Atlas and Swerve are scuffling, and I'm groaning, oh no, this feud again. But what happens is they're trying to break it up without success. Bronson Reed comes in, breaks it up, and he's like, knock it off. And Swerve is like, you always take a side. I've never once seen them interact before, but Bronson Reed and Swerve were having a stare down. Swerve sort of laughs and walks away. So that's obviously a coming match and a little bit of a feud. Bronson Reed is pegged for bigger things. Swerve Scott's going to have to wait a while. Anyway, the main event, I don't want to brush over it too much, but I sort of felt about this match the way the Sheriff green screen felt about the first match in AEW. This was exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's Breezango against the Undisputed Era. Pretty evenly matched. That was part of the story, that they sort of knew each other's moves and were countering it and avoiding them. It was sort of like mirror image thing, both go for the super kick at the same time and then, stop and, look at each other and regroup. A bunch of near falls. Breezango does a double team. It's a 2 count. Technician senior. Roderick not so strong. Roderick strong. Breaks up the count. Kyle O'Reilly is on the outside. The Not brand comes out, and it's 3 against 1. They're beating the crap out of Kyle O'Reilly. Finn Balor comes out for the rescue, but it's still 3-on-2. So Kyle O'Reilly, and they're really targeting his jaw. They're really selling that his jaw is injured and still not recovered. The Undisputed Era is not coming out to help us. They're still in the match. Actually, for part of it, they're laid out. Anyway, Breezango basically jumps off the top rope into a super kick. And he takes whatever his real name, whatever Breezango is, without Tyler Breeze, whatever Zongo's name is without the Bree.
Fandango.
He I type Freezongo. That's how much I care about those two guys.
Understood.
Undisputed Era wins. Then they go and they stand by Kyle O'Reilly, but it's too late. But they're still hovering around them with concern. Finn is on the other side. They're still separate, but they're still with Kyle O'Reilly. But obviously, they didn't come out to help him when he was watching their back. Where were they? They were chasing their glory for their prophecy, not caring about his goal. You can see where this is going. But it's a good, solid wrestling story, and it convinces me even more that the Undisputed Era are going to stay where they should be in NXT forever. They'll replace Bobby Fish at some point with somebody.
Grand scheme, what's up with AEW's main event?
Right, so they had the TNT title up, Darby Allin versus Brian Cage. They drew a lot of attention to the size difference.
As they should.
102 pounds to be exact. I know that because JR kept saying it. Only 2 men from Team Taz were allowed at ringside for reasons that he said, because we keep getting involved, things like that. Then why not just have them banned? But that's not the point. So Hobbs wasn't there. That was their explanation for Hobbs not being there. And so size difference goes out the window very fast because Darby just goes straight at Brian Cage. Eventually, he gets him out the ring, does a dive, straight heads. I think his head straight into like the guardrail, and that was kind of hard to see, but that happened. After that flurry, it was all downhill, really, for Darby Allin. Brian Cage finally catches him, beats him down. They do end up back in the ring at one point. Cage just picks him up, like just bare strength, hauls him 12 feet out the ring onto a table that just has stuff around it. Eventually, they pan to Darby. He's bleeding. So Darby's just getting beat up now. He's getting brutalized. And so he's getting ragdolled for, and I can tell they're just killing time right now for the main event. Darby's getting ragdolled for what felt like 10 minutes. And then eventually Darby gets some offense, and he binds Cage's feet with his belt from his pants. And so now Cage is like, he can't walk. And so Darby's just, doing work on him. Even with his feet bind, Cage finds a way to just kind of power through it, and he ragdolls Darby some more. And then they do that for a while. It was very much a filler match. It was a Darby match because that's his thing. Like, he just takes pain. So he's bleeding all over the place. He's getting ragdolled, and he's kicking out at 1. Like, people are like, yeah, he's kicking out at 1 after taking all this abuse, right? Because that's his thing. He just takes pain. And then Ricky Starks tries to get involved to help Cage. Lights go out. There's Sting. Sting stops Ricky Starks. Yeah, I see those expressions. Stops Ricky Starks. Darby wins with the crucifix bomb off the top rope. And then it snows. Yeah. That's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the end of NXT and AEW. And let me tell you something, that was too lackluster in those shows for me. But it keeps the storyline moving. I know AEW wasn't going to do much because that was a taped episode, if I remember correctly. And NXT had the first virtual crowd that they've had, I think, since the first week. So, solid shows from what it sounds like, but, a lot of misses with both the shows at the same time. But I'm interested to see what goes on next week for these two shows. Final thoughts, I'm about out. I'm going to let y'all do y'all final thoughts before y'all wrap up the show. Thank you so much for watching me as part of this NXT AEW as I filled in for the Willatine Dream. You two, take it away.
You're not going to give us 3 puffs, your 3 pulls impersonation?
I don't smoke. The only thing I would say is green screen when the show is over, stick around backstage. And that's it. You two have a good.
You too. My final thoughts, to be frank, I thought NXT was pretty unspectacular, pretty unremarkable. If they think this Dusty Rhodes Tag Classic is a big deal, I'm not sure why they don't have many big deal teams in it. So it was not an exciting show. I mean, I found myself wanting to have watched AEW instead. And even though it doesn't sound like AEW show was great, at least it sounds like there was a bunch of stuff going on, and at least it was interesting. Even when it was messy, it was interesting. NXT was clean. The only thing I really, truly enjoyed in NXT was the Zia Lee stuff, and hopefully I pronounced her name right. Nothing, Derek. Nothing at all. He loses to people he should beat. That he's done that. And he hasn't fired Taz, which he should. # fire Taz. He sucks. But yeah, I didn't think NXT was all that, to be frank with you. I don't see much change from the viewership of last week. That's right. That's right, playa. Fire Taz. Hashtag Fire Taz. So, Tamara, take us home because I don't, I got nothing to add.
My final thought is that even though I did not watch NXT, Dynamite was better. Also, Dynamite was a very, very enjoyable show to watch, but it was also a very Dynamite show, being that certain things were all over the place and kind of like what is happening right now. But I will say, and this might come, this should be common, but I watched the show and I enjoyed it. And you can't really say that a lot about a wrestling show. Sometimes we watch it for the masochist of it, just so we can complain online. I watched the show and I enjoyed it. So for that, thank you. And that's it for me.
All right, folks. Well, look around at all the icons above us and below us. You can go there. You can share, like, rate, review, do all the great stuff, subscribe. Also, please check out the podcast I do with Big Daddy Cool of this very network, and it's called Hammerlock Hangover. So check that out, and make sure to tune in to the SmackDown review show on Friday, and check out the entertainment schedule as well, because the entertainment division reviews movies and does video games and all sorts of other fun stuff. They don't let me play. They said, Rudolph, you can't play in our reindeer games. So maybe they'll let Green Screen do it one day, and then she'll tell me because, she's my inside person. That's right. All right, people. See you next time.